Hello everyone, the Chart Guys have been working on an introductory technical analysis course for quite some time now, and after surveying hundreds of traders with what would be the most sought after information regarding technical analysis, we came up with this course, When to Enter and Exit. It covers over 5 hours of the basics on when to enter and exit, and we feel after watching this course it will help build a foundation of technical analysis knowledge which will eliminate a lot of the uncertainty in the world of trading stocks. So the course outline, we go over the psychology of trading, establishing a game plan, the different indicators we use to signal a bullish and bearish entry, how to recognize support and resistance levels, poor entries, where traders make mistakes, exit targets, how do you know where to sell your trade, where to place stop losses, that's very important, minimizing losses is what keeps you in the game long term, my personal preparations, how I go about getting ready for each trading day, and then piecing it all together, utilizing all the information we just learned and how to apply that in the real world for making successful, profitable trades. As a bonus, we also include a lot of information on finding entries and exits utilizing patterns, and you can find these patterns on every time frame on pretty much any stock and commodity trading, and certainly being able to recognize those patterns can give you an edge as well. So we hope you will check this out. Again, it's an introductory level course. So if you are new to technical analysis and trying to get a firm grasp on things and feeling a little bit overwhelmed, then this course is for you. I hope you check it out. Appreciate you watching. Hello everyone, going to do a long-winded video here, lots of names to look at, and some of these names, granted, are pharmaceutical companies and not all biotechs, but going to do a mega video here, and we've been following the biotech sector very closely ever since the election, certainly a big pop on the election surprise, and I personally was surprised on the length of the consolidation that occurred after that pullback. It was certainly more drawn out than I anticipated, but patiently waiting for the lower high and lower low pattern to break, and it certainly did that this week with a lot of strength. So we see XBI here, and I'm going to be comparing XBI to IBB. XBI is the S&P 500 biotech sector, IBB is the NASDAQ, and IBB has notably been weaker than XBI in 2016, but not on this bounce. It was actually a leader. So we'll start with XBI, very clear lower high, lower low consolidation after the breakout from the election. We hit the 200-day moving average support, and we were watching this gap to fill at 58.54 as a bit of a target. And certainly we don't have to fill the gaps, but it's a good target to have on breakouts and consolidation periods. And we hit the 200-day moving average support, and we held it 2 days in a row, and then saw big volume and strong movement by the bulls. And we never filled that gap, and the bulls held that support and turned around the trend. So we had the huge day. Look at this 100-day moving average resistance. 1, 2, 3 rejections. We closed right at it on Wednesday, closed above it on Thursday. We consolidated a bit. The bulls bought that dip and closed above that resistance. And then we saw follow through on increasing volume on Friday. The upper Bollinger Band is 63.32. We did close just above that level, but it's an important level to update every day because that is a key support or resistance. We're going to be starting on Monday with that level in about the mid $63 range, so it might start the day as resistance. We'll have to see where we stand. We can now look back at other resistance levels, just this lower high pattern. So I'm looking at 63.75 as a resistance. We hit 63.88 on Friday. So then we're looking up at 64.45. Every bounce attempt that rejected, that's a resistance level to be watching. So the trend is changing on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, big bullish candlestick. Look at the weekly middle Bollinger Band. We lost that support. 1, 2, 3, 4 back tests and 4 rejections in a row. Now it's back to support on solid bull volume, and we're looking to resume the uptrend. We have a clear higher low pattern in all of January, or all of 2016, I should say. And this could be just another higher low as we look to head back towards the recent high we saw of 68.14. IBB, so the turnaround started sooner here, and we pulled back sharper. So we filled that gap that didn't fill on XBI. That gap was at 264.91. That filled. We hit the low of consolidation on December 7th. The low of consolidation for XBI wasn't until January 3rd, almost an entire month later. So we had IBB hit that low, and we were working on building a base of support. We formed a higher low, and then we got the clear break. Look at the 200-day moving average resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections. We closed above it on Wednesday, above the upper Bollinger Band. So the difference between XBI and IBB, IBB was in breakout mode above the upper Bollinger Band when XBI was not yet. So we back tested and held it on Thursday. Another back test and hold on Friday, the low of the day, bouncing off that level. And the bulls are in full control. We're looking at the resistance levels now. I'm looking at 282.57 and then up to 285.52. So same thing, we're updating the upper Bollinger Band every day, and it's as support for IBB, which is in full-on breakout mode on the daily time frame. Weekly time frame here, we've got that middle Bollinger Band back as support. We're on the verge of a bull MAC decross, and we are looking at the recent lower high of 294.26. That's the goal for the bulls to break and continue this uptrend. It's been a weaker uptrend in 2016 compared to the S&P 500 biotech bulls, but just the past week, I should say the past couple of weeks, the bulls have shown a bit more strength compared to XBI. So checking out VRX, we were watching VRX just from the sidelines and just being very, very patient with this name because of how weak it was. We know a turnaround is coming for a short-term bounce, an oversold bounce at the very least, but we needed that middle Bollinger Band on the daily as convincing support. We had it for one day in the past 3 months, but it did not hold the back test. So we were watching and waiting patiently. It became support on Tuesday. Wednesday, we saw big time follow through, but the Bollinger Bands are so tight that we're rejecting from that resistance both Wednesday, Thursday, and then we consolidated on Friday. So we're going to be looking. We had members making a nice bull entry back on Tuesday and seeing a nice gain already, but we're going to be looking for an entry point. Ideally, on a back test and hold of this middle Bollinger Band, it's going to begin leveling out and ascending, and that would show a lot of strength if the bulls made it all the way down to that level. We still have $15 psychological support to come before that, but we can be scouting for a bull entry on VRX, and we would exit if we lost the middle Bollinger Band support, as it has been resistance for so long, and it's finally support. The weekly time frame, you can see just how bearish this trend has been since August, just a straight-on dump. The RSI is still oversold under 30. 3 green weeks in a row. It's been pretty weak at this point, but this was the strongest bull week out of the 3. We have the exponential resistance. We need to get over these exponential resistances. This is the first time we've closed above the 4-period exponential resistance since this big pullback started. You can see every single week rejecting from this green line, not this week. So we're looking to turn this trend around and see an oversold bounce play out. SRPT, same thing with that middle Bollinger Band. 3 months with it resistance. Finally, we have it as support. And why I like SRPT here is because not only that factor, the fact that we have that middle Bollinger Band as support for the first time in a long time, but the weekly chart is bouncing right off what I call a moving average support band. And I call it a band because it plays really good music. Just kidding, because it has 3 moving averages all at the same level. The 50-week moving average, the 100-week, and the 200-week, they are all between 26.52 and 27.21. So it's a nice solid band of support. We held it 2 weeks in a row. This is a bullish reversal candlestick. We see we've been in a nice uptrend all of 2016. Huge breakout. We've been consolidating for 3-4 months since that breakout. And here we are at that support. Bullish reversal candlestick. Daily middle Bollinger Band support. We're going to look to turn around this consolidation and look for the bulls to show back up. I like this chart, and it's a clear exit if we lose these weekly moving average supports. GILD, clear breakout on the daily time frame earlier in the week on increasing bull volume, and now we're consolidating after that breakout. Looks like a little bull flag of consolidation, which would indicate continuation. Low bear volume compared to the bull volume on this pullback. And we're scouting for a bullish reversal candlestick early next week after this breakout, or after this consolidation, I should say. And why I like GILD is because of the weekly chart as well. Look at this middle Bollinger Band. If you're getting the theme here, the middle Bollinger Bands on all kinds of time frames indicate when to enter a position, in my opinion. And on the 5-minute chart, when I'm day trading oversold positions, when that 20-period 5-minute moving average becomes support, that's my go signal. And here on the weekly time frame, look at these rejections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we closed above it for the first time in over a year. So that is now support at 74.99, and we're looking for continuation and a reversal of this trend. So keeping an eye on GILD and that weekly middle Bollinger Band. A lot of these, the weekly chart is why I'm liking these names. So they are more of a swing position at this point, and we're going to see just how much upside these bulls can get now that the biotech sectors are turning things around. Let's see if these individual names can follow suit and turn around their clear downtrends as well. CLVS has been a big time bull on the daily time frame, and I was watching it here and liking the consolidation that was occurring. Looked a lot like a bull flag, which again indicates continuation for the bulls. Normal healthy consolidation after a breakout. Was a bit surprised by the bearish news that led to a dump, but certainly wasn't bearish for long. Look at that rally off that middle Bollinger Band support and a complete turnaround to favor the bulls. That was quite the dip buying opportunity, and I remember that day we were watching it closely. On that dump, the 5-minute RSI got under 30, was in the low 20s, indicating oversold conditions when we hit that daily middle Bollinger Band support. So a shorter term time frame was telling us things were oversold, and we were at a clear daily moving average support. Both of those are a recipe for a bounce, and it was certainly a stronger bounce than even I anticipated. But here we are now looking at the recent high that we've hit, 46.97, as the resistance for the bulls to break to continue the higher low and higher high pattern on the daily time frame. I like this weekly chart because obviously it's been in a strong uptrend for 4+ months, but also because we are filling a gap here. There's a gap all the way up to 96.27, and there's little price history resistance because of that gap. We do still have the 100 and 200-day moving average resistances, also the upper Bollinger Band resistance, but other than that, in terms of price history, there is not much resistance at all, which is why I like the trend on the daily time frame for continuation on this weekly chart. SGEN. Keeping an eye out here, we did fill the gap, or we came close to filling it, 60.25. We got up to 59.93, so it has not filled yet, but we rejected from the middle Bollinger Band resistance, and look at all these rejections, 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5. So we know that daily middle Bollinger Band needs to become support, but I like the weekly chart. Due to the overall trend, we had a bullish reversal doji after the gap down. It has now been confirmed, and we regain that middle Bollinger Band, 57.21, as support. This is a very strong uptrend since February. Higher lows and higher highs after a significant pullback. This is just another higher low in the pattern, and we're looking for the bulls to resume this uptrend with some follow-through, and the bulls must keep this weekly middle Bollinger Band next week. And last, we've got blue. BLUE, really liking the bounce off of the 50 and 100-day moving average support after normal healthy consolidation. Bulls are showing back up. They're back over the middle Bollinger Band. We got a bull TCG cross, the 4 and 8 period exponential moving averages, and we're on the verge of a bull MACD cross. And I like the weekly chart here because it is in an uptrend over the past 7 months, and we back tested and held the middle Bollinger Band support after a couple weeks of consolidation. Bullish reversal candlestick off that middle Bollinger Band, and we're looking to head back up to $75. Look how key this 75 psychological level is. We've rejected from it a half dozen times in the past 5 months with the inability to close above it. Once we close above $75 on blue, we know another leg to the upside is likely coming, and we are going to be looking up towards the high we've seen this year, which is up at 79.70. So lots of names to be watching, lots of weekly time frames shaping up. Watching VRX for the oversold bounce, SRPT as well oversold bounce, liking the weekly position on that support. We've got GILD, weekly middle Bollinger Band becoming support, CLVS liking the weekly filling the gap, SGEN looking to resume the uptrend as well, and BLUE, same thing off that middle Bollinger Band. And all of this being driven by the biotech sector as a whole turning around the daily downtrend. We'll see how this continues to play out. I'm going to be covering the biotech sector very often. Members know we've certainly been talking about it every day, multiple times a day this week, and certainly lots of opportunity in the sector. I appreciate you watching. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.